Now this brothers, this is powerful right here. Right from dealing with Abram to Abraham, I want to deal with this whole law of projection. And I have inside of the book, The Blueprint, on page 100, the law of projection. Look what it says here. So God deals with Abram's insignificance because it was how Abram was seeing himself that was prohibiting God's promise from coming to pass in his life. I mean, it's so clear when you really read it right there, guys. He tells Abram, get your eyes off of yourself, get them off of your wife, get them off of your own inability to produce, Abram in parentheses, get your eyes on me. I am able to perform what I said I would perform, but I need you to see yourself the way I see you and not the way you see you. So in verse 5, God does the next part of the blueprint in the life of Abram. He says, neither shall thy name be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Notice that when Abram begins to see God in the place of intimacy, the very first thing that God deals with concerning Abraham was how he saw himself. And then verse 15, we see that he sees his wife significantly once he sees himself significantly. And this is called the law of projection. And briefly, we'll talk about that because Abram's perception of his wife was actually a projection of his own personal self-perception. That's where we get that law from, right from this chapter. That's where I got that quote from, right from this chapter. Abram saw his wife as Sarai because Abram could not see her as Sarah. This is so powerful right here. So then the promise of having Isaac was not the product of toil. It was not the product of how many times as a brother he could have sex with Sarah or Sarai. Actually, the promise was the product of his own personal self-significance. Once he became significant as a man, he was then able to give significance to his wife. Together, their significance produced the promise. And that's powerful right there. So we can see, again, change the men, change the world, brothers, because, when a man becomes significant out of his intimate walk with God, then everything around him becomes significant. He's like Adam, man. And see, this ain't even a part of my whole plan today, but I want you to see this right here. Once a man becomes significant in the presence of God, everything that is presented to him, he's then able to give it identity. Adam gave identity to all animal life, all plant life, including his wife. So when a man has a problem giving identity to his wife, to his business, to his occupation, to his church, to whatever, it's all a product of how he sees himself. That's the law of projection.